and I think I'm enjoying my new save in Football Manager. I don't know, and I don't think I can say I'm 100% enjoying Football Manager 26. Does that make sense, Si?
Still a bit miffed that the attribute colour customization is some presets, none of which look any better than the original one.
Get me. They look worse. They look worse, actually.
I've gone back to the original one.
My initial, what happened to my skin colour? What happened to my attribute colours? I just saw something funny on the side of my eye. I was just like, Rockstar Games, hi everyone. GTA has been delayed until further delayed again. So I was like, we're complaining. Again, really? And I've just seen that literally 29 minutes ago. So sorry, that's all I wanted to get off my chest.
Like I said, I don't think a lot of that is review bombing. Okay, there's a little bit. There always will be in any way. But I think a lot of it is just entirely justified that will hopefully grow with it. And it deserves a lot of criticism, and hopefully it can deserve a lot of praise when things turn around. And I say when, because if you don't hope for it, what else can you do?
Luke 09 sounds like a Star Trek character.
Yeah, well, I've put him on the
Deep Space Luke 09.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the FM Show. I'm of course your host Tony Jameson, joined, well, we've got a full house today. We've got, in order, SecondYellowCard is with us, Maggio is here, RDF Tactics, aka Aaron Falloon, aka Southampton Scout in Football Manager 26 is here. Fellas, the game is officially out. Of course, last week's episode we recorded prior to launch. The game is officially out. And I think this week, let's just take a moment to reflect on where we are right now. So we've had about 10 days for everything to just settle. How are we feeling? Who wants to go first? Go on, Aaron, I can see it in your eyes.
Well, I'll go first because I've got nothing much but positivity. So I play the game, but I'm playing it on stream rather than offline. So this is where my... be some disconnect with some other people as well, but I play online and I'm just quite enjoying the game. I think for many years, all I've been crying and complaining about is just for the game to be different. When FM24 came along, it's like, why can't they just change the UI? Why can't they just move the sidebar to the top? Funny enough, it's at the top and people hate it, but you know what, we move on. So I was always complaining. So I think I'm not as negative because all I needed was just something new. Now, I'm aware of the bugs, I'm aware of the issues, and I don't just forget about that. My main thing when I'm streaming, I always tell people, if you come across an issue, if you come across a bug, rather than sit there complaining about it for 20 minutes, you can use those 20 minutes just to go on their forum site, report it, and surely the evidence is there with the amount of updates that they've done, it will get fixed, or at least be in a pipeline to get fixed. So a lot of my thing is positivity. I can see some of the issues. I am missing the chalkboard stuff. I really am missing that. But I think it got to a point that's just like, just enjoy the game for what it is. And I think once you do that, the game gets better for you. It's not a 10 out of 10 game. I know that. Everybody knows that. But I don't know what's better. Just play it or sit there complaining it's not 10 out of 10 game and have to wait to FM27 for you to judge again. And I'd rather just play the game and just enjoy it. It's still enjoyable. I'm enjoying it on stream. Maybe because I'm winning games, it makes it a little bit easier, but I'm enjoying it. And that's all I can say, really.
I like that. That's a ray of positivity from Aaron, because obviously if you were in his streams last year, he was Mr. Rage about, hitting the woodwork left, right and centre.
People come on my streams like, I'm just here for the positivity. I'm just like, bro don't know me. He don't know me. But again, I just wanted something new. I've got that something new and I just move forward with it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying there it's not a 10 out of 10 game. I think we all knew it wasn't going to be a 10 out of 10 game. And we made a couple of predictions on last week's show prior to launch. Again, let's always caveat with prior to launch. We made a prediction that at the time we all thought it was around about a 6-ish. And then if a patch dropped, we'll talk about patch in a second. If a patch dropped, we all hoped it would be better. But Matt, I mean, the idea, if you look on the Steam library, the idea of a 6 out of 10 game, I mean, that feels like a stretch right now, doesn't it? Because people went to town on that.
Yeah, that was always going to happen, though, wasn't it? Like, it's just, I feel like that, even if, honestly, even if on the day one there was a patch that there wasn't, obviously, but if there was and it had fixed, I don't know, 90% of the actual problems, which again, the patch that came out yesterday definitely didn't do, but that's okay. It still would have got review bombed to hell because of the previous stuff. You see things on there, it's like 20 minutes played, negative, and then there's this big list. It's like, right, okay. But like, I feel like that's the sort of thing that's, it's not great initially, but also a lot of it, some of the criticism is entirely justified as well, because this is easily, if you look at it from the launch state, the worst state an FM game's ever been in at launch. So I think you can kind of understand a lot of the ire in some places, whilst also look on the positive side yourself and try to want things to improve. Because what else can you do? Like Aaron said, if it's like, you could just complain all the time, or you could find joy in the things that are there, and then hope that there's new things to find joy in later. I've quite enjoyed Aaron's little spirit quest that he's gone on here. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like he's gone to the mountains and spoke to ayahuasca. It's great. And like, I want some. I think this is probably the worst it's ever going to be reviewed this entire year. That's what's in the tea. It's got a specialty. And hopefully now we start to see that was like the rage is there, but then the more reviews come in, they're more rational, and it starts to slowly build its way up again, hopefully. And that will track, in theory, with the developments of the game that we're seeing. Now, obviously, there was a patch, which I'm sure we're going to talk about properly in a minute, that's helped things that people wanted to see and not helped some things that people wanted to see, me being one of them. But at least it feels like we're moving in the right direction. Maybe we'll need to see what happens when there's another patch to sort of have a comparison point. I think at least if you get two of them, you can sort of see where the trajectory is, I guess. That's what I'm really looking for, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's a fair comment, to be honest. And Si, like we'll bring you in on patch chat right now, because we knew that while it was in beta, they were very, very quickly behind the scenes. SI were releasing update patches frequently to address issues that had been flagged within the community, bugs that had been raised. And it was looking like, okay, they're getting on top of stuff. They're getting on top of stuff. This is good. Then when it came to release, we all presumed day one patch was going to land. Day one patch didn't land. And I think that probably played into more of the negative reviews that landed on Steam. I think it was just, for me, it felt like another open goal missed. I mean, Si, where do you sit? Like, do you think the day one patch landing, would that have helped? Or would it have not really made a difference because people had already made their minds up, sort of thing?
It's a tough one. So obviously at the weekend, when we recorded on Sunday, and on Monday they said there wasn't going to be a patch. So the three of us, we made our prediction on what we thought the Steam reviews were going to be. And I said mixed, maybe stupidly. Although I have got an interesting point about that, and we'll come back to it. Remind me to come back to it. I think Aaron wanted to say something in a minute as well.
Oh no, it was just, I just saw something funny on the side of my eye. I was just like, Rockstar Games, hi everyone. GTA has been delayed until further delayed again. So I was like, we're complaining.
Again, really?
And I've just seen that literally 29 minutes ago. So sorry, that's all I wanted to get off my chest, which was funny.
Well, I guess this plays into it, right? So we said last week, and people might call us, we say, why don't you call out SI enough or whatever. I have said the game is not ready for release, right? This game is not finished. It is not polished. That doesn't mean I can't enjoy it. I've played games in alpha and beta states before. I played Minecraft for about 5 years before it released like the launch version. So it's like, I can play a game and enjoy it even though it's not fully released. There are games that get stuck in alphas and betas for years, or early access for years. But I think, clearly there, like Matt said, I think there's a combination of review bombing, but I don't think that, I don't know if review bombing is fully fair, because there is definitely a lot of people who are either A, not enjoying the game, or they don't like the UI, they can't get on with the UI. And, these are probably veteran players. And B, there's a lot of people who, there are some bugs. So I know, for example, Macs have a lot of bugs right now. Whatever the Mac version doesn't run well. The console version as well, obviously they won't review on Steam, but the console version is about a week behind at least on patches from the PC version. Add in the fact that it's not quite on parity with what you get in the PC version and costs more. Mainly because it's on a console, there are some limitations there, but I think if they'd have released that patch on Tuesday, I think the reviews would have been a bit better, especially if they'd have communicated what was in that patch on Tuesday. Part of this is down to communication, I think. If they'd have communicated a bit better, hey, this is what we're planning. If they're going to do it, it's not like they weren't going to add these things. It might be that they might not have been added on Wednesday. In which case, just be a bit more transparent about it. Say, hey, we're adding, I don't know, what did people want? 1.5 speed and attribute color picking, and this thing tomorrow, if we can. We hope to release them tomorrow. The trouble is, they're sort of damned if they do and they're damned if they don't on social media at the minute. They can post something on social media and people will pile in on them. They don't post something on social media and people pile in on them. And it's like, well, like, it doesn't really matter which way around they do it. You know, and if they say, oh, we can pick attribute colors or we can pick that, they'll get 500 people complaining to them about, oh, just go rebuild the game in FM24 or whatever. Or go change the UI. The UI doesn't work. So, you know, or whatever someone else's most favorite function or feature in the game is that isn't being worked on, they're going to be angry about that. So that's like, it's tricky, but I don't necessarily think they handled it the best way. And the sort of the reviews reflect that a little bit. The reviews have started to creep up since that patch came out. One other thing I noticed that was kind of interesting is when you break down the reviews by language. Now, can you have a guess as to what percent? So there are. Okay, I'll tell you there are 6 languages which there are enough reviews for it to like have its own breakdown. So they are English, Turkish, Chinese, Korean, French, and German. Okay. Have a guess which one of those is most favorable, and have a guess which of those is least favorable.
Least favorable France.
Least favorable France.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Korea.
I was going to say Turkey.
You say for the most least favorable, sorry, for Turkey.
Least favorite, yeah, and they're they're a very engaged community. Turkey.
They are, but I think we still got to remember, Foot Manager's still a good game, so it's like it's difficult, right? You don't know. It's a difficult one. I've just gone French purely because of what I've seen on X by like French accounts, and yeah, they're
okay. So overall, it's 25%.
Positive.
Sorry, in English it is 25%. Overall, it's 23%. In English, it's 25%. Okay, are positive. And I think this goes back to something you said maybe at the start. Like a 6 out of 10 is not. It's not. So the way Steam rankings work is it's just a positive or negative, right? So even if everyone gave it 4.9 out of 10 in the Steam rate reviews, that would be a 0 on like a 0% positive on, because Steam is just, is their review positive or is their review negative? So it's not quite, doesn't quite work the same as Metacritic or something. You know, Metacritic would be interesting to look at, see what the user reviews on that are. But I imagine, you know, typically people with negative views are more likely to post as well, especially at launch. So at the minute, English is 25% as of recording. It has been creeping up. It was about 22, 23 earlier. So I think the patch is making some difference. Turkish is about 17. So Turkish people are more angry about the game than English people. But Chinese and Korean, 5% for Chinese and 7% for Korean like the game. So I don't know what the issues are in the Chinese and Korean versions of the game, or if the communication is different. I don't know if there are language problems or translation problems or something like that. Or just naturally, we know that, for example, with other video games in the past, once the Chinese community gets onto it in Steam reviews, they will bomb it. Now, obviously, my Steam is only showing me the English language ones at the minute, so it wouldn't actually matter too much. But I can see that English language is 25%. But yeah, Chinese and Korean are like, that's, they're about Chinese is about 1,000 reviews of the 6,000, so it's about 1/6. French and German, by the way, French is 39%, which Steam still has in the negative rating. Okay, so but only just like marginally negative. So it's called mostly negative. So Korean was very, and Chinese was overwhelmingly, and Turkish was overwhelmingly. German is 42%. So German is actually in the mixed category that we spoke about, which goes from 40 to 60% favorable ratings. So it's interesting, like the difference between German and French, like they're about 10% more favorable than English. And English, and all of us are all like 30 to 40% more favorable than Chinese and Korean. I just found that like a really strange phenomenon when I was looking at it earlier, like the different ways in which the cultures have approached it.
I think it's very interesting to look beyond the initial numbers. And I think given the irony of what we do in Football Manager, like we are literally like looking beneath numbers, that is really, really interesting actually, because I hadn't considered breaking it down by language. Like what I looked at in terms of the reviews, I was thinking, I was going similar to what a video that you made this week, Si, about the philosophy, your own psychology of why you think the way you think. Like, I was trying to look at the way that people are reviewing stuff and seeing things like, right, we don't like the UI, we don't like the new graphics, it's a bit fiddly, it's just not for me. Like, they're potentially problems that would kind of have come even if the game had been better. Like, that's just a person who's not getting on board with something. Like, you know, the UI, oh, I don't like it. Okay, well, you know, like, there's so many different ways that people play this game. I think we mentioned it in the last episode that sometimes things like UI, and I know that people will be saying in the comments, well, it's illogical, it doesn't work, there's broken hyperlinks, all that stuff. I get all that, but sometimes we mask that by skins. And it allows us to play the game the way we want to play it. So it's very, very customizable, and we're all used to that. And it's the first time we've been told we're not allowed it. So there is going to be resistance from people to go, well, no, that's not how I play the game. I don't need, if we use the portal again as our example, I don't need 5 tiles that tell me fixtures on one screen. Like, give me one thing that says fixtures. Yeah. I want that customizability. And had there been an element of customizability, would those reviews have been there? Potentially not. It may have been that, right, the UI was crap, but hey, thank God for this skin. This has sorted me out, and now I'm enjoying it. The match day experience, the gameplay, you know, the shouts are gone. I feel like I'm a passenger. I've not got heat maps, pass maps. Okay, totally get that. That's the way that you engage with the game. Agree completely that you're not going to enjoy it as much as if all that's there. However, again, had that been communicated in the first instance, had a skin been there to add those elements in, customizing things, would that increase your enjoyment experience? Potentially, maybe not. And then we've also got to think there's another category which we sort of haven't really touched upon, and it's there's always a point when people drop off from Football Manager. Like, I'm old enough to remember when Champman 4 was out and there was the Champman into Football Manager, break, and like, there was a section of people my age who just looked at it and went, it's just getting too in depth now. And they left. Like, they were getting into long-term relationships, they were getting jobs, they maybe starting families. They didn't have time to invest a load of time into Football Manager. And I think that we might potentially have some people now who are at that point going, right, the game's changing. I feel as though it's becoming more console-ified, a view that we hear. And people are now going, well, this is not the game that I fall in love with. So they're at the point where they have to make another decision as well. And they're angry because there's not actually a viable alternative. And that's where I think some of the negativity and the anger is coming from as well, that the game, they almost accept that change has to happen. And I'm trying to think positively here that they are going, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it, change happens, but where's my alternative? Like, it literally feels like I have this or nothing. It's not like there was FIFA and PES and like you had an alternative. Now it's Football Manager or nothing. Matt, does that sort of, have I rambled a bit?
No, I mean, it's exactly it's the sort of thing I was thinking, and I've almost felt like that way myself at times, because obviously, like, we are perhaps as a group not the most representative of the entire player base. I think we would very much be in the tiny little Venn diagram in the corner of like the hardcore players, but within that, there's also the little subsets of that. And seeing all these changes, even when I was seeing the stuff, I was thinking to myself, am I going to be able to have the same experience and find the fun that I've enjoyed all these years in this new game? And it was tough to know before playing it, because I was hoping to myself, okay, cool, it looks a little bit different, but then there's skins that make the game look certain ways in the past. So is it just that it's a different skin and I have to get used to that because I don't have the customization right now? You know, it's a bit like we've had all these options with it before, where it's kind of like having a teacher at school that's fun and lets you doodle on your notebook, and then the strict teacher comes in and says, no, you're not allowed to do that and you're going to do things my way, which sometimes works out well and everybody listens. But the teacher needs to have the ability to actually teach, and I've worried that the game is sort of like the teacher that's got no control in a way, because it's not actually got a good enough thing to offer the other way. So that's why people, I think, are flailing out or like lashing out a little bit at it. And I get that, because, as you say, there's nowhere for them to go, and you feel a little bit like this thing that you love is sort of being almost taken away from you, I suppose. And then you either have to hope that it gets better and try and find the fun in it, or give in. And I think that's what may have driven a few people away from it. And I completely understand that point of view, to be honest. There's a lot of things that I'm still struggling with in it for certain ways that I play that I keep hoping will be fixed. And because some of it's not even things like bugs, it's things that are clearly design choices that I disagree with, but I don't expect those things to change. It's just things that I'm seeing that are bugs. I'm like, well, this sort of stuff has to get fixed at some point soon. And hopefully as it does, again, we get that trajectory going the right way. But they're totally valid points. Like I said, I don't think a lot of that is review bombing. Okay, there's a little bit. There always will be in any way. But I think a lot of it is just entirely justified that will hopefully grow with it. And it deserves a lot of criticism, and hopefully it can deserve a lot of praise when things turn around. And I say when, because if you don't hope for it, what else can you do?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you've got to have some belief. Some people might say it's misguided, but we have to have some belief that things will improve. Obviously, we know that there's bugs in there. We know that bugs are being fixed, and I think that Sports Interactive will be looking at all this, and they see everything that's written, they see everything that's tweeted, they watch every video, they drop into streams. They're aware of the feeling amongst the community, not just from us. They hear what you're saying. They read Facebook groups. They know what people think right now, and they'll be sat around tables and around the boardroom and at the water cooler or whatever, chatting away, going, right, how do we fix this? How do we make it better? We're hearing these words, there'll be some stuff that will be incredibly justified. Aaron, I think we've spoken about this before. There is some incredibly justified criticism online that is well articulated, but because potentially at the minute there is so much noise and there is so much volume of communication and opinion, that sometimes finding that really valid critique that Sports Interactive really should listen to, because it's an absolute nugget of information, an absolute goldmine, sometimes finding that can be tricky.
Yeah. I'm just a big believer in, I just think no matter the criticism, just try and pay attention to it. From our point of view, going through reading so much criticism mentally is just not a healthy thing to do anyway. But I think from SI's point of view, I think no matter, even if the thing just says it's shit, it's just try and, I don't know if you want to scope around that person's page, because I think a lot of the times, right, and I think this is what I initially had, I didn't like the game, I didn't know how to articulate it. So I was just saying things, and anything that came across a bug, I'm like, see, this is why I couldn't actually find the right words to articulate why I disliked the game. Maybe because there was so many little things as well about it. What I will say is, one reason why I disliked the game initially, it's still a bit of a bug for me now, because I've done a stream with Southampton. So one reason why I might be enjoying that is because I'm at Southampton. Obviously, I'm in the game. I'm managing myself, sort of thing. So there's sort of a story behind it. And I get involved in games. People know me. If my team score, I'm jumping up and down, regardless if the game is bad or not. I could be playing Rocket League and I'm screaming for every goal, right? But I don't think the game... FM24 had a great balance. And when Football Manager in general changed and it became so in-depth, I think people looked at it and be like, no, that's not for me. But I think FM was opening up a world and it allowed different players to play the game in the way that they want to play the game. And then it just felt like FM26 is now, no, none of that. You're playing the game the way I want you to play the game. And I think, again, that's one part where people just a bit disconnect. They see the home screen, right? The portal, the main page they see every single day. But yeah, there's 4 different cards that you can see your fixtures. And it's that is just not important. But you've got to remember, people are seeing this and they want to enjoy the game, but they're constantly seeing something that they just don't want to see. And I think it's a bit of an own goal to not have modding in Football Manager. I just think that is a bit of an own goal. At least make the game customizable. At least allow me to change the size of my cards or what that card is showing, whatever it is. At least make it customizable for me so I can enjoy the game in the way that I want to enjoy the game. But I just think that's where Football Manager FM26 is a bit... Football Manager FM26. FM26 is a bit... It just sticks at a 6 out of 10 for me. Even though I'm enjoying it, I can blatantly see the issues, and I think it stops... it's capped at me for 6 out of 10 because of The main thing is just that I can't play the game in the way that I played FM24. I said before, like 1 minute I can be on my homepage, next minute I'm in Serbia's under-19s. How I got there, I don't know. But I just know on Football Manager, it just took 2 clicks and I was there. Now it feels like I have to actively type in Serbia under-19s to get there. And I think that's where a lot of the magic is gone missing. I think for me.
Yeah, I get that completely. And sorry, man, I get that completely. Like, I think that lack of customizability, even if we take away the idea of skinning and modding,
yeah,
we all know that Football Manager has a wealth of information within it, and we all look for that information in different levels. Just allow us to decide what information we can see, because that's really important to us and our game and how we play our game. Like, you know, you, for example, might be more into really specific stats. I might just want to have like a bit of a league focus. Possibly I might want the sort of the social media tab because that's how I play the game. I'm telling story. You're in there going, I need to get that extra 1% out of my players. So I need to know how they're performing. I need to know how they're performing against everybody else. And that, I think, is part of the problem, that it's not there. And that again is why you've said there, like, it's almost like we're now being funneled into a one size fits all. And I know, Matt, you've said that we are the 0.01%, you know, in the Football Manager player base, who are what we would class as the hardcores. I would probably even class myself as one of the casuals of the hardcores, like, because I'm not as in depth as some of the hardcore players. I've sort of like taken to, and Si, I don't know how you feel about this. I've taken to, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, am I enjoying Football Manager 26 or am I enjoying streaming a new Football Manager game? And I think I'm still I'm enjoying my new save in Football Manager. I don't know, and I don't think I can say I'm 100% enjoying Football Manager 26. Does that make sense, Si?
This is what I was trying to get at the beginning. So when I said that I like the game and there might be a disconnect with me and other people, is that I'm streaming it. And I've got an audience. Everyone loves Football Manager with an audience. So I think that's where disconnect. And again, I don't play it offline. So if I play it offline, I might share some of the frustrations that a lot of other people are. Sorry, Si.
No, you've probably hit on it a little bit. And, you know, this is where some of the we get some comments on these videos or on our own videos. Yeah. And like, there's obviously a disconnect between, I mean, we're all enjoying it to some extent. We all recognize there are issues with the game, but I guess, and I think when we're streaming or when we're making content, it's not because it's like some people keep saying, oh, it's because you can't say anything bad about SI. We can 100%, I mean, we're not going to be rude about SI, right? But we can 100% be critical. We can 100% be critical. He's banned now. Aaron's never getting an invited back, is he? You know, we're allowed to say what we like. Like, SI have never said you can't say what you like. You know, obviously, we had Miles on for the interview. Miles is going to be like, there are points where they have to approve like that interview, right? But that's not, other than that, like, that's just normal media. That's nothing to do with us in particular. But we, on this pod, on this episode, we can say what we like. You know, if we hated the game, we're allowed to say it. We're allowed to say we hate particular things. We're allowed to say the game is too buggy, that it is unfinished, that they shouldn't have released it in this state. Like, all these things we can say. And, you know, sometimes we choose not to. Sometimes because it's obvious, or sometimes because you know, you're just feeding into noise, and we want to think about it from a deeper level. Like, you know, actually, why are these things the way they are? You know, is there a reason it released on Tuesday instead of Wednesday? Well, probably there are licensing reasons and contractual reasons and all sorts. Like, in an ideal world, I'm sure they would have delayed it as GTA just gets delayed, right? Probably Sega doesn't let them delay it because it's now a yearly release and they're tied into it and they missed last year. Like, that's not to make an excuse. Sometimes that's just the world of business and the world in which it works. Like, there's no get out. So I think both of you are right. Like, when we're streaming it, we have a different experience, you know, especially as with, like, at the minute, streaming's going pretty well. Like, I'm getting a lot of people in, the most I've ever had in. Same for you. Actually, all four of us, right? Like, this is like the most bump we've had. It gives us like, what's the endorphins? What's the
dopamine?
That's the wrong one.
Dopamine hits.
Dopamine. Dolphins.
Yeah, we've all got dolphins, which has been brilliant from this.
Dopamine. Yeah, it gives us like a dopamine hit. I don't like, and I think about it, I don't know if I was playing offline. Excuse me. I don't.
I'll take over, Si, while you're busy cough yourself out.
Sorry, I'm choking on my own thoughts. I don't know if I was playing offline. I don't know if I was playing offline that how long I would get before I got frustrated. So I'll give you an example. Football Manager 2014, I think I've said this on the pod before, so I'll be very quick. Football Manager 2014 on the Vita, the classic version, was bugged, was broken. I did one season. I didn't get promoted because all the other teams played 2 extra games than me for no reason. It just gave every championship team 48 games instead of 46. And I was like, what? Like, why do they get more games than me? So I just got annoyed. I got angry on the forums. I got angry at Sports Interactive. I got myself a week-long ban from the forums, or a month-long ban from the forums. And then I didn't buy Football Manager for a few years because I was angry. And then nothing ever changed, right? Like just back to square one. So like the only person who I hurt really was myself, like by getting angry about it. Actually, at that point, I wasn't that angry. I was trying to be constructive and tell them there was a bug in the game, and they just said, we're not working on this game anymore about a week after release, which I think was which is way worse than what's happening now. Like, to give Sports Interactive credit, they have been pushing these. They may be not coming out as fast as people would like, but they are. Like, I'm hoping some people, they've probably got beds in the studio or whatever. Yeah. They must be working hard. Like that patch on Wednesday threw out 300 plus fixes. They don't tell us how many are actually in the stability fixes, but everything looks a bit more stable. I'm not getting as many crashes as I was in the beta week. I think Macs are still a problem, but other than that, like most people seem to be relatively bug free, but everyone's experience is going to differ there.
Yeah, Matt, you're smiling away as if to.
Yeah, I had 2 crashes on stream today, both of which were
never
memory
mind.
leaks.
I take it back.
Yeah, there's a memory leak issue.
This completely undoes my argument that sometimes it's people's technology, but you've just bought a brand new shiny computer, so it's not yours.
Brand new computer. I know. For what normally I would be like, oh god, it's stuttering. It must be my PC. That's what I've been saying for the past 3 years. Oh, don't worry, chat. It's just the PC causing the problems. Today I was like, no, couldn't be me, and it was like stopping and then starting again. So I loaded up Task Manager, and FM was using 26 gigabytes of RAM. So I thought, that seems a little sus. So I had to basically force close the entire thing, and it wouldn't let me go past this one game. So I had to just instant result it. So that's new. But yeah, I mean, I think that was just a bit of bad luck for whatever reason. This specific Czech team causes a memory leak. So if you're watching this right now and you are managing in the Czech league, watch out for your game against Teplice. Maybe instant result that one just in case. If you are on an Intel 265K, just as a word of warning. But I totally get what you mean. Like the game is. I've actually completely forgot what I was going to say. I was so annoyed about the bugs.
I can give you a bit of a leg up, to be honest, because there was, as Size mentioned there is some of the reviews and some of the comments that I see, and people are talking about bugs and talking about, the games being laggy and stuff. And there is part of me wonders, is that down to individuals' technology, individuals' setups? Because we do all play on, everyone's got their own individual PC or laptop. Like, not everyone is configured in exactly the same way. Unlike the console market, which we know is you have a console and that's 99% of the time, there is no variation of what's in it. So there is loads of weird and wonderful variations of what we're playing on. And some people are going, I've had this bug, I've had that bug. But then you get other people going, I've never seen that bug. So again, that's a bit of like, well, they're almost looking out for the bug that they've heard from over there. So is it sometimes coming down to technology? Has that helped your train of thought, Matt?
Yeah, I think because of the fact that FM is designed to run on such a vast array of different levels of computer, and it still does to an extent, even though they said that, we're moving towards a higher level, and it has, definitely. I mean, I had to buy a new PC in order to get it to run properly, but that's on me for having a really old GPU. I think that it is just going to encounter more issues because obviously the console release has not been perfect either by any means, but at least with that, that if you're talking about the PS4 version or the PS5 version or whatever, the hardware. It's one of like a couple of different ways of setting up that hardware. Whereas with PCs, it's a literal infinite amount of combinations of CPUs and GPUs and various other hardware things that could conflict to cause all sorts of problems with the game. Finding like weird bugs that only apply if you're using a full AMD build for whatever reason because of firmware or software or something. That's really difficult to diagnose. And I suppose it's why you see some niche bugs that just never get fixed in the end, because it is such a very unique use case that's almost impossible for them to recreate, even if you can send them files. But like I said, it's good that at least this time it feels like like, right, we know the game's not in a good state, and we're going to work our asses off to fix it. And so far, the signs have been promising. Like, it hasn't got worse. Everything that they've done has improved it slightly, even if I'm still a bit miffed that the attribute color customization is some presets, none of which look any better than the original one.
Don't get me.
They look worse. They look
started.
worse,
They do.
actually,
I've gone back to the original one.
My initial, what happened to my skin color? What happened to my attribute colors?
Sorry.
I opened the
Yeah,
game, was like,
yeah.
this is, well, I didn't ask for this. I went into the options thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to change it because I saw the change list. You can't. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 options. I'm like, wait, what's this?
Hope you like orange.
Yeah, this is not what PsyOps for.
It's not even. Like,
That's what I keep saying about the attribute. I'll be honest. As a colorblind person, the new preset has helped slightly in that a bad attribute now doesn't look like a good attribute. Whatever setting I have, I either have a problem now with the very light blue one they've given and the white, or I have a problem with the yellow and the green. I think they've got 5 colors that they've input into these options. And like, no matter which, like, there's always, in each of the combinations, there's 2 that look similar. So I have to, so basically I've got the one which is like the yellow and the green, which I'm like, okay, the slightly brighter ones is the better attributes. I can handle that just about, like, as long as they're like 11s and above. But you can't set what number they come in at. No. You can't set anything else. So it's like, all right. I'm hoping that that's a stopgap. Rather than a full fix. It's basically the modded version that was created, and the modders have been busy.
So here's a question then. Sorry, Matt. Here's a question for this, right? So does this raise a bigger issue, really, and a bigger question? And with the news, you know, of Rockstar delaying GTA 6 as well, like, is this a bigger problem for the game's developers to just be in a habit of releasing games that require patches and bugs fixing, and like, we all kind of just accept it? And I again, without sounding like old man shouts at cloud, I remember when back in my day, right, when video games came on cartridges and you plugged them in and that was it, right? That's all you could do. There was no such thing as updates. Like, if things didn't work, they didn't work. You just dealt with it. But the second it went to like sort of discs and CD-ROMs, kids, if you listen to CD-ROMs, and then DVDs, and now it's like, get the game out, work on it once it's out. And that's the same with not just gaming, but with software in general. You know, your iPhone updates, there's another update for that the next day, straight afterwards, going, oh, here's some more bug patches. Like, is this a bigger concern for the industry as a whole to be like, look, so many games now come out and you install it, and then there's another 80 gigs worth of like update that goes straight after it, and you're like, I was going to play this game today, but I've got to spend an entire day updating it before I can even play it. Like, I don't know.
I wonder if people look back on those games perhaps with slightly rose-tinted glasses. I think if we were to go back and play some of the games of our youth, we'd be looking at going, well, this was a buggy mess. Like, yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And I think that it's almost like a trade-off you make in modern gaming in general and in software across the board, where you sacrifice some initial stability for the possibility that you'll get that stability and then a lot more in the long run. So it feels like you almost, before, you were coming in at like midway through, you come in at like a 6 or maybe a 7. Whereas now, sometimes if you're unlucky, you come in like a 5 or a 6 or even lower potentially. But the flip side of that is with the right development, and if you've got a dev that cares, and I truly believe that SI are one of those devs, you then have the possibility to flip it over into the 8s and 9s and 10s potentially. Now, obviously, would you like it to be that from the beginning? Absolutely. But at least with this method, you get a way that there is a possibility to get there. Because imagine if this came out and there was no updates or anything like that. It was just, here's the game, have at it, ladies and gentlemen. Then it would just be, chaos. There'd be pitchforks and all sorts.
I mean, my lights just turned off at the prospect of that. Good. This is the game. This is the game. This is all it is. Then my light just went, nope, I'm out.
I think what some games have is the luxury that it's always been familiar. So Foot Maggio, right? FM24, FM23. Those games came out, especially in early access. It was buggy. It was, but you played the game because you knew you was familiar with the game. You knew how it worked. You can operate. Now with this game, with it being buggy whilst trying to learn new things, I think it just becomes a bit difficult. And I guess as well, there's some people, I haven't personally seen this comment much, but it's just what's in the back of my head is when you are now paying £50 for a game on Football Manager or £80 for EAFC. Like, it has to be good on day one, because there's no way that you're going to the shop and buying something and be like, I'll just wait for the patch, or I'll wait for it to get better. Like, you're going to go back and get your refund, right? Like, so I guess, I don't know. I think I do understand people. Sometimes you do want to just get in the edge. It's like, guys, it'll be all right. Just play it. Just enjoy it. It'll be all right. But at the same time, I don't want to do that, because I can, at the same time, understand where they're coming from.
It's like, I totally get that, because sometimes have to take a step back and be like, and not just myself, but I'm in a privileged position to be able to be this involved in it for, like, I'm on a professional level.
Yeah.
And so I'm not playing it purely as a recreational activity or an escape or just as for fun. I'm doing it as a job, and obviously not all of us here are like full-time in this sphere, but we're still at least part-time in some respects invested in this sphere on a more professional level. And I think that's a very different relationship with the game than, say, just the average player of the game who is, they've done their day and they just want to play some Football Manager, a game they really enjoy. And I think that I can totally understand being irked by being asked to pay full price for a game that clearly isn't in a state to be a full price game. That is where I think the disconnect happens, because I'm happy to put in these hours to essentially be a paid visual beta tester for that, but that's not something that the average consumer should have to do. Exactly, and I think sometimes we forget that, and those people are the ones buying the game, right? For the most part, and the game needs to be good for them.
It feels like,
really.
imagine you just bought an album, right? And this is like the album's in beta. The album's in beta. I need you to feed me
John's
the feedback.
on in yet.
He's like, the bass is too loud on this song. The vocals, the backing singing, it's off tune here. And it's like you're trying to work the perfect album, and I guess like that's not the fan's job. And sorry, so going back to this is what I wanted to make. This going back to your point about different technology, and I do think that we are right still at this moment in some sort of testing where they need to get a gauge on everyone's systems and what's working on how it's working on this system. It works good in that system, but not so good in this system. Why? Even though this system is so called better, there's obviously something inside it that's affecting it, and it's running smoother on someone else's system where I'm seeing people post their thing and it's expensive systems. They're having this glitchy thing. What Matt explained. Watch mine, and people asking me, "Are you using the speed up mode?" Nope. This is just how the game works on my computer, sort of thing. So I guess there's that as well. I think they're sort of still testing or trying to work out some sort of trying to work out the issues, I guess, between different specs and computers.
I think just sort of like expanding upon that point there where you're saying about like I've used that analogy as well with music before about sort of having the album in beta or whatever, but I've sort of equated it to, you know, when like you're waiting for a band's new album to come out and you're like, this is going to be class, right? And it's delayed because they've had an argument.
Oh,
right?
don't do that.
Like,
I think I know where you're going.
And then the album comes out and you're like, it's shit, right? But in 10 years time, you look back on it and you go, do you know what? It was actually all right. Like, they can remaster it in 10 years and it'll be okay. It won't have maybe have like one or two little belters in there, but overall, it's not the best album. It's a frustrating album. You've queued up, you've waited for it, you've bought it, and you've went, oh, right, that's not quite what I wanted. And like, I think you're right to talk about the expense that people put into the game, like, you know, the physical cost of purchasing it. Like, you know, Matt, to your point about sort of like our relationship with the game, the consumer's relationship with the game. I think us four are, and you know, others in our sphere as well, I think we are quite switched on, and we understand that everyone has a different relationship with the game. And, you know, yes, you know, someone who's had like a crap day at work, they get back, they just want to unwind, play Football Manager. They don't want to have a crap day at work, get back, and then the game doesn't work. And it's like, well, there's more crap. Their level of escapism isn't there. Like, but also for yourself, you know, and for Aaron, like, where this is your job, there is also that issue of, if this is not very good and people don't want to watch it, or you don't want to play it, then that's your income is affected by this as well.
It's
Do you know what I mean?
funny
Like,
you say that. That's like my number one point on stream. Like, when I'm streaming, I was like, why do I want to rage and be upset and tell you the game's crap? but then tell you, all right, guys, tomorrow I'm streaming, so come back and watch me tomorrow while I play this game that I don't like, and neither do you. Like, it makes no sense from a streamer's point of view.
Please do continue to keep watching us on Twitch, by the way, because we all love the fact you're here.
The game's pretty
I've got more
guys.
biscuits to shill.
I mean, I'm going to ask you the question though, because we have been asked it in the comments, right? And people say, and I've seen it elsewhere. Do you think we're positive? Do you feel like you are being positive? I want you to reflect on this for a second. Do you think you're being positive? Because if you're not, then then this dies, or Football Manager dies, or the content side of it dies.
Yeah and no. So I'm not saying anything. Like, you go through my Twitter and stuff, my videos. I'm not saying anything negative, because what I can say has already been said, right? And now I fear if I pile on and grow this sort of pylon, like, let's say SI dies, this edition dies, kills FM forever. Like, I would then have to live with the fact that I was part of that group that created this fan base to kill the game, basically. So there is part of me that I'm like, all right, there's negative out there. I don't want to put more negative out there and put people off from helping this company. Like, let's be real, the company's helped a lot of people, right? The game has helped a lot of people. So it's just a bit, in my eyes, it's a bit weird that you're taking the very first opportunity to try and just criticize the game at any will and essentially just kill the game. As we're saying that the reviews, we know how big reviews can be in this industry, but yeah, people know that. That is why they go into Steam and leaving these negative reviews just to make their presence known. But I think people know and understand that those reviews are important, so that is why they're putting the negative reviews there, knowing that actually that can have a negative impact on the studio. So I'd just rather not do it. It's already done for me.
Matt, Tony, what about you guys? Do you think?
Do you want to go first, Matt?
Yeah, go on then. I mean, I've reflected on this a lot because, it's sort of the definition of copium sometimes, right? You want it to be good, and you're sort of
hear that word again.
That word is, yeah.
But in a way, you sort of look at yourself, because I think it's this case of that. Like, I wouldn't consider myself to be positive. I would like to think of it as more as optimistic, because I think positive implies that I'm sort of not seeing the negatives. And I truly believe that in my content and when I talk about the game, I'm basically saying, look, it is not in a good state right now, but I would much rather be part of the solution than part of the pylon. If I've got a choice between those two things, and I'm not saying that you have to be part of either or both, but if I can highlight things in a positive way, or an optimistic way maybe, and report bugs, get people in my community and chat to report bugs that they find, and try to rally for these things, we can help shape the game into what it needs to be or what it should be, rather than just kicking off the whole time and not providing anything of value to actually help it get better. Because ultimately, we should want it to be better, and solely complaining without any real point at the end of it doesn't get us anywhere and doesn't do anyone any good at all. Because, okay, cool, so we're just going to complain loads and not provide any constructive criticism, and then what? They go out of business? Is that what we want, really? Like, is that the goal there? Surely the goal should be to get the best game possible, right?
Yeah, so for me, it's not like, it's not necessarily like, I keep calling them the public, the consumer. It's not necessarily like, it's not necessarily like me, like, oh, you guys stop it. It's more so I'm a creator, and I know that I've got impact, some little bit of influence. So I know that what I say, there's more of, people can hold on to it longer than what John says on X. If John says, oh, this game's bad, blah, 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 it is completely different to when I'm using my video, my platform, and saying this game is bad. And I just think it's two different things. So what John says, I agree. I just like his tweet, and I move on. That is it. I'll let John know that I agree with him, and that is it. I don't need to then make my own. I just don't need to point these things out. They're already there on the forum site. People have already posted it as a bug. I don't then need to use my platform on X to be like, oh, look, here's a bug. We know it's there.
I think there's a few points that sort of like cross paths with a lot of what you've both said there. Like, I think for me, so I'm in a bit of a quandary. I'm not gonna not criticize the game just for the sake of it. Of course, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be sat there going, oh, well, if I criticize the game, then there's no more podcast. I'm not going to do that. Like that's not even a thought that's in my head. Like I have a level of authenticity which I stand to. Like so, if I don't like something, I'll say it. I'm very much a person who I don't want to bring problems. I like to bring solutions, and I like that in other people as well. Like we have these conversations offline when we're planning the show, for example. Like, you know, we constantly go, we've got nothing to talk about, right? Well, rather than we've got nothing to talk about, what are we going to talk about? Like, let's try and make a plan, or a guest's dropped out, right? Okay, let's try and work out what the solution for that is and what does that look like. So that, I think I'm with you, Matt, in that optimistic mindset of, well, look, it has to get better because it can't stay like this. Because if it does stay like this, then it goes, right? And Football Manager dies and Sports Interactive goes. And I'm at a position over the last few days where I'm looking at some comments and I'm thinking that there's almost going to be like, joy is the wrong word, right? But there's almost going to be a satisfaction from some really far removed people who would go, well, I was right. We've finally got Miles out. We've finally got, like, we've taken that much of a stance that we've got the game cancelled and it's gone, right? We've made that big a pile-on, as Aaron's saying there, and it's gone, right? Reviews, my view on reviews is that no one who's actually, like, the only people that are going to read reviews are people who are already buying the game. Like, actually, no, it's people who are not going to buy the game, right? They're looking, going, shall I buy this game? I'll read some reviews. Everyone who's played the game before is not going to go looking for reviews because they just made that decision regardless, right? Like, Miles already said that pre-orders were up. So we're not looking for reviews, right? So those reviews are to stop new people from buying the game, really, or to be visible. Now, we've heard people say about, you know, they want Miles gone. I've said from, you know, a few times now that be careful what you wish for in the long term, because if Miles goes, right, and I know this is me maybe sound like an extreme viewpoint and a tangent from where we started talking, but if Miles goes, right, and your concern is that FM is now becoming a console game and, you know, SI are working in a different way to what you would like, whoever replaces Miles is probably going to come from a console background. It's not likely going to be a PC background. So the game might become, and the franchise might become, more console-ified going forward because that's where the money is. That's where the microtransactions are. That's where the subscription model is. So, look, for all of Miles's flaws, he loves this game a lot, right? And I know Miles, and we know that he is so passionate about this company and this game. Yes, he's fucked up and he's got this one wrong, but, you know, if it could be a lot worse is all I'm saying. Like, so I'm not going to pile on and go, yeah, let's do it. Yes, it could be better, but I don't know.
I don't understand this just blame Miles thing. Like, Miles is not creating the game, doing the database, research. He's not doing every single thing. He's not doing the match engine. He's not doing the graphics. He's hired people. Okay, like, you take the responsibility. You hired these people, right? But it's just so weird. Like, if I was working at a football club and my sports scientist told me, oh, no, don't worry about this guy. He's fit. He won't get injured. I play him. 5 minutes later, he gets injured. Like, I'm not sure. As a manager, I'm taking that blame. Like, okay, I'm going to go into the media. I'm going to be like, I shouldn't have played him, blah, 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 blah. But we know, as a club, that one's not on me.
But you're getting sacked because results don't work.
Yeah, but it's just so odd. I just know that Miles probably has a team that he trusts, and then like he's not going to openly say, yeah, that team in that area didn't do so well. This team in this area, oh, fantastic. No arguments from there. But it's just so weird. Yeah, it's so weird that we always blame Miles for this whole thing. And then the second thing I was going to say is the microtransaction thing is, I don't know, man. I think Miles is like one of us, right? So he's probably fighting or just adamant that this is how the game should be. You pay for the game, you've got the game, that's it. I mean, you've got the option to get the in-game editor, but I just think that's how Miles looks at it. Now, if you hire me, I might be thinking, what's the extra way I can get a bit of ching-ching? Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, you want to play 10 seasons? $2.99, please? Like, obviously, I don't know where you can add these microtransactions, but every game has it now. Every game.
Especially football games.
Every game has it. And we're sort of like the
FM
only
console as well.
Yeah, and we're sort of like, but even that, right? FM console, it's like these are in that game. It's the options, right? Like you can buy.
They're cheats.
Yeah, they're cheats. They're not like you don't have to buy it to play the game, sort of thing. Or
I already know someone was typing out the comment when you said there's no microtransactions, but I just wanted they are like, oh, you can give yourself a sugar daddy.
Yeah, sugar daddy. Like, they're cheats.
Or heal all your players, or it's basically the in-game editor stuff, but they can't give you the in-game editor.
Yeah.
Or and it's the same on mobile.
But we're not a million miles away.
That's not proper microtransactions.
But we're not a million miles away for say when draft mode comes back in, all of a sudden you could potentially foresee a world Football Manager Ultimate Team. Then there's your microtransactions right there. That would make you've got your head in your hands, Si. That would make a killing. People would pay.
But again, if that came in, I don't think I would mind it because I can still play the game. Like I don't have to go down that route. I think there's gonna be someone smart, a new smart guy might come in and find ways that you have to might want to pay something to get to where you want to get to in the game. Like these people are smart. They do that with Ultimate Team, right? Like you feel you're at a disadvantage by not buying a pack and having a certain amount of players or whatever it is. I don't actually know. I don't play Ultimate Team, but I just know for a fact people feel at a disadvantage with other people, which is why they buy these packs. This is why kids are just ruining their parents' credit cards buying these packs because they feel that they're disadvantaged. They feel they can't play the game. Now, if you're telling me I can play my single career mode and you're charging blah, 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 blah for the Ultimate Team in FM, then you know what? It's nothing to do with me. I'll probably dibble in it myself.
But what if I tell you it's £3 for Serie A license and it's £4 for the Premier League license and it's £4 for the MLS or the Saudi license? People are paying for that. Because remember back in the day when you played on Champ Manager, you had Champ Manager, the English version. You had to go and buy an extra version to play Champ Manager Italia, and that's all you had was the Italian leagues. You had to buy a second version. You had to buy the Benelux version. You had to buy the Spanish version. It wasn't all in one world like it is now. You physically had to go and buy another version of the game.
I do wonder if that was just I don't know if that is limitations of this size or whatever it is.
Probably.
Yeah.
But what I mean is though, there's a hardcore of Football Manager fans that are actually used to doing that and would remember that.
$9.99.
We need
Napoli Halloween kit season pass. What do you reckon?
Yeah. We
Like
need
a training simulator.
Don't put these ideas out there because I'm like, you know what? If you're doing a special Arsenal kit on FM, I might just pay that 99p. I'm sorry.
It won't be 99p though, will it? It'll be $7.99. Some amount that's just awkward enough that it's expensive, but you'll still pay it because it's just about the price of a Boots meal deal. I don't know, but it's probably more expensive than a Boots meal deal, but not much. Like 2 Boots.
What
meal
is
deals.
wrong with console games? It's weird because I'm seeing now it's just a console. No, but it's just a console game. It's a console game, and then people are like, "Oh, I remember when I used to play LMA." So what's LMA? What did you play that on?
That's funny, actually. I put it out on Twitter. I said, what was everyone's first football management game? Apart from a couple of championship managers, everyone whether it was Premier Manager or Complete Onside Soccer, a load of Atari ones,
and
Kevin Toms, they were all on some form of console. I mean, some of these were PC-ified consoles. All of them were console games, right? So every time someone goes to me, FM has always been a PC game. No, it hasn't. I mean, the first one was also on Xbox for a start, I think.
It was.
The second one was also on Xbox.
PSP as well. Not the first FMs, but they're on PSPs as well.
Yeah. Then everyone's like, oh, we need Championship Manager back, or we need these other games back, or there's no competitors. And I'm like, go look on your app store. A Championship Manager was on the app store. The Championship Manager lived for about 10 to 15 years after people think it died, because it was a microtransaction filled app on your phone where you could just play through seasons and buy microtransactions and all sorts. And it was the same with what's on there now, Top 11 and these other games. That's where the Football Manager, they're not direct competitors because they don't really have the depth and scale of Football Manager. But your licensing, that's where your competitors are. If someone's making a new football management game, that's what they're going to put in, because Top 11 makes a lot of money for whatever publisher owns Top 11 and these other ones, Soccer Manager 24 and the NFT ones as well. people are making money off of these. So that's where they're going to put, if someone new comes into the space, that's where they're putting their interest. They're not putting their interest into a football management type game, unfortunately.
And we will make a podcast about the best one. Yeah. So just putting that out there as well.
Like, if you're losing Miles, you're going to have to literally get one of us. You're going to have to replace him with someone who also loves Football Manager like nuts. Otherwise, just
I'm voting for you, Aaron. You're going to run the studio in the future.
The size of the woodwork is going to be.
There's no point getting Aaron in, because the first thing Aaron's going to do is
woodwork.
First thing Aaron's going to do is get that limited edition Arsenal kit in there for 99p. So
as long as he doesn't make Southampton good, I'm happy.
I'll be charging people to manage anyone else but Arsenal.
Yeah, come on then, Si. What's your views then? Where are you sitting on
All right,
this?
so because that question I asked you guys. So it's because lots of people ask it in the comments, or they say it in the comments as if it's actually what we're doing. They don't ask it; they portray it onto us as if it's something that we're doing. And one thing I've been one, I don't really have a financial stake in the game doing well or not. Like my YouTube channel isn't my job. For you guys, maybe it is at the bottom there. I don't know what. If Chris moves us around, this is going to make that sound very weird. For Aaron and SecondYellowCard, obviously it's their finances. But for me, it's like, okay, I've got a second channel in football shirts. Like I can go do that if I want. I've got other interests that I play other video games. I was doing a video game podcast a long time ago with Kev's, with Miss Leluja, right? A long time ago. I have other interests in my life that I can go do. Not everyone does. Some people, Football Manager is everything that they do. And it is quite a lot of what I do right now, but it's not the end of the world for me. So if I don't want the game to die, of course, but it's there's no reason why I can't be critical of the game. I want the game to be better. As Matt and Aaron said, I want the game to be better, right? There's no point me creating unnecessary noise. I need to be focused on the bits that I don't like to make sure that message gets through. And sometimes I do that publicly. And this is the other thing. Like people are like, oh, why aren't creators saying something? Why aren't creators doing something? Sometimes the best way a creator can do something isn't necessarily making a video. Obviously, we have spoken to people in Sports Interactive and still can on occasion speak with people in Sports Interactive. Obviously we made our alpha videos. So when we were making our alpha videos, we can feed back to Sports Interactive bits of information, and we did, and there were changes. We can't necessarily talk about them, and we can't always talk about these conversations. But, just because we don't do something publicly doesn't mean it isn't happening privately or in other ways, right? There are other things that we can do. Sometimes it'll be a tweet, sometimes it'll be a video, sometimes it's just watching from the sidelines is the best thing to do. Just to I don't necessarily have a stake in under 21s management being added back into the game. I'm happy for people if it does get added back into the game, right? So if that's noise that other people want to make, because that's an important part of the game for them, I think that's kind of important too, right? Don't just make lots of noise. Focus on the bits you like. I focused on, I need attribute colors back into the game. So I made my videos about that. When I gave direct feedback, I was like, give me attribute colors back into the game, because as a colorblind person, that's really important to me. There are other things that I think I would like back in the game, but are less important in terms of my enjoyment. So by focusing my energy into that one thing, or those couple of things that are important to me, and if everyone does that, Sports Interactive get a better idea of what to prioritize in order to return to the game. The space bar is one, right? The space bar thing they're bringing back as an optional legacy thing, right? They put it in the patch this week. Yeah, I'm sure that'll make a lot. I tweeted about it, made a lot of people happy. Actually, I don't mind the new spacebar mode. Fine. I could just put, I just scroll from my email with a scroll.
That is
you like the new
not fine.
when you wanted it to return.
Yeah, it's not fine like that. No, I hate it.
Oh, I watched this man press spacebar for a full week in Liverpool last year. Trust me,
Literally.
Could you imagine how quick you'd have got through your save if there was the no space bar? You'd have
But
got
see, the
through
thing is that,
so
when
quick.
they're flashing space bar, people just think it's just, I'm skim reading still. So the thing is that I play Football Manager so much, I know what the message says without actually reading the message. I already know what's in that message. So I don't, I'm just pressing the space bar, but at the same time, I'm still just clicking through it and then I continue. Yeah,
but I am doing that. So I'm doing it, but I'm just doing it with the scroll wheel. What I do is I hover my scroll wheel over the messages, scroll wheel it up and down. I'm like, right, what's the messages? It's probably the same speed, and then I press red all at the top when I'm done. I think I've just worked around it a different way. Probably the space. I'll probably turn on the spacebar mode when it comes back.
I take it the thinking behind that.
I think I found my workaround. I think it didn't end up as a major issue for me because I just went back to. I just found a pretty much identical way of doing it in the way.
I think it is those little things that are just like baffling to people because it's like, why did you change that? Like where. Just why? Just what research went into the reason? It's like, oh, no one's using space. Like we all literally used the space bar. So what made them think? What? We're just gonna make it completely different. But what was wrong with it? How it was in the first place? That's where like those little decisions there. I'm like, is a bit confusing and a bit. I struggle to understand because I'm not exactly sure what the issue was beforehand. I don't know.
I think they wanted to take it away from being an email simulator. A little bit with FM25, based on what we've learned about FM25.
But it just comes to continue.
They wanted it to be less inbox manager.
I mean, it is still email simulator, though, isn't it? Really, that's the problem
because they've gone back to it, right? It was going to be WhatsApp messages or whatever.
But you still need to go through the emails, right? A lot of the time, it's like it's still.
Well, you'd been going through WhatsApp conversations and stuff before.
Group chat simulator.
You'd been having chats. You'd been having more chats and interactions.
TJ's left the group chat. Like this is your job. If it is group chat simulator, it's just gonna be full of gifs from me. Just like this one.
Yeah, memes, stupid memes, and screenshots of things that don't really matter.
Exactly. You never see what this says.
That with your players.
There's just small things in the game where. Again, like, because I've done one save, I'm not starting new saves like I normally do. So I'm just like, I'm in my saves, I'm invested in it. One thing I disliked as well when I open up a new game and when you come to select your team, you previously in FM, you press the team and you go into that page and you can just go through under 21s, blah, 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 blah. This one, it's just like, there's no clicking, that takes you to the next page. It's like, you just got a list of teams, then you've got a little view squad button, you just got to make your decision from that. Foot Manager, previously, how I made your decision, probably the same as everyone else. It's weird that you click on a team, you get into their homepage, you get a feel of the club. Like it feels like it's just having a feel of the club, and then you step your toes in. Nah, I don't like that, and you start clicking through. Yeah. You start clicking through, and you go and find the club that clicks with you. Now it's very difficult. That is very difficult. I'm just like I'm picking a team. I'm like I hover over some players that I know I can't do this for every team. I'm just going to click this team now.
I agree with that. And what else is still frustrating me as well is once you do pick the team, right, and you're in, and they're like, oh, you've been hired. You're like, oh, it's great to be here, everyone. They're like, what's your tactic? And I'm like, hang on, what? Hang on, like, no, I need your tactic. I need your tactic before you can come in the building. And I'm like, no, I've just parked here, right? And I'm going to come in, and I need to say hello to someone. They're like, no, tactics in possession and out of possession, please, or you're not going to meet the canteen staff. And I'm like,
you've got to put it on your ID.
Exactly. Just that's a bit wild, isn't it? And then I'm looking around going, have we got league tables written anywhere? They're called stages now. Are there? Who agreed that?
Yeah.
Just go into a room and it's just entirely calendars.
Okay, this is also where I disconnect
We've
from.
done it how you thought you'd like it.
So maybe this is again why people feel. Again, I don't think they know how to articulate themselves, so they just say, "Oh, it's a console game. It's like a console game." If they try to be a little. Is it like hipster? Like just the wording of some things, match day. But I'm not in a match day.
Actually, just going off
I don't
your...
understand that. Why is the tactics page called match day? It's just call it tactics and just... You don't need to have these... I don't know what... Yeah, the wording of some things is just as well. They're trying to be like too up to...
It sounds like a focus group with a man in a turtleneck went, we've heard that match day is a common word, and they've gone, yes.
73% of people don't really react to tactics, but match day has a better feel, we think, with our clientele and our customer base.
Put an umlaut over the A.
I like as well the idea that we've said there. The portal's meant to be your office, and I've just had an added addition to my analogy there, where we've given you a collection of calendars because we thought that's what you like. It's the equivalent of when you get like multiple clocks set to different time zones, but in this world, all the clocks are set to the same time. It's like 5 clocks are telling me the same time. Why?
Just a Gregorian calendar in the corner. This one's a Mayan calendar.
It's 4:20 in York and in Plymouth. Interesting.
The Arsenal game's on Doomsday.
Because if we don't have to do under 21 training that week.
Oh my days. Turns out we do hate the game.
We hate bits of it, yeah. And then, of course, next week we could talk about the online mode because, again, there's still issues there, isn't it? We need to attempt to try that to comment upon that fully, but yeah, we'll get around to that. What do you reckon? Are we done? Have we got more to go for, or
I
should
think Matt alluded to it, but I did want to just bring up that console version is in a state right now.
Yes.
That, I think that's pretty bad. So one of the things I did see before release of the console version was some people got it early before day one patches. I don't think. I think the ship has sailed on day one patches now. That's pretty common in the gaming industry. But there used to be a big problem. You shouldn't be able to play a game without. You should be able to play a game without having to connect to the internet and get a patch. And there were some clear problems, no crowds. Every player was black. Not that that's a problem, but that sounds really bad at me. But Declan Rice shouldn't be have a black player mode. I'll get cancelled now. There was some obvious bugs, a lot of the bugs, and so there's a day one patch that's out there.
starting to think that we maybe should have just wrapped up 5 couple of minutes ago.
That's right.
You know what we said about Football Manager getting cancelled. Turns out the podcast has just been cancelled. As well.
Yeah, obviously the game is not they did put out a day one patch, but it's a couple of weeks behind and it's not great. It doesn't run on Xboxes properly. I did a quick look and I thought it was a problem. I thought it was a PC problem on mine, but it doesn't seem to be. I think it is the game, right? Especially on a console, it shouldn't be releasing it in that state at full price. And that is, I don't think that's great. But I get that there's probably deadlines that they've tied themselves to. Yeah, I guess that was it. So I know that there's going to be some people angry about the console version, and I guess hopefully they get the patches that we've had on PC in a couple of weeks. But we'll keep our eye on that one as well. Yeah, we see you, console players. That's what we say. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I saw some of the bugs, and I was like, that's why I don't have a console. Get yourself a PC. Sorry. Bit inconsiderate.
PS5,
I saw it. I was
PS5 should be better.
We were so close to not angering people.
Just have more money.
But a PS5 should be better than most people's 10-year-old laptops, right?
Stop sleeping outside. You'll catch a cold.
Oh, no. Now we're properly cancelled, aren't we? Should we ask Editor Chris to cut this off 10 minutes ago?
No. I'll be fine, right? Who else? FM Mobile. Hey.
There'll be two new people on the pod next
there's
week.
a crazy bug in FM Mobile as well, where you get 26 injuries in your squad.
FM Mobile's the same game as FM24 though. They've not even released a new game.
How have I got 25 players on my squad but yet 26 injuries? I was dying.
It's got 2 injuries, easy.
That is actually a funny bug in the PC version. Well, funny. Women are getting a lot more injuries than they should be. So one of my viewers has had 5 spine breaks in their team in one season. I was like, what are they doing to them in their are they having them do the pole vault or something?
It's not the manager. You just got to blame that sports scientist.
It's the physio. The physio's been a bit rough, snapping them in half.
Nice massage. Ooh.
Did these players walk into the building? Nope, they didn't. They crawled in. It seemed fine.
They all just came on stretchers.
Team building parachute event went wrong.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, there you go. Yeah. So console players, yes, we understand you're in a bad shape as well. Network players, we understand you're in a bad shape. Mobile players, again, you're going to get more injuries than players you've got. I mean, is now a good time to plug the Patreon? I suppose. Yeah. Who wants to do that?
Patreon.com/the FM Show pod from as little as £3 a month. Is that right? haven't raised the price, have we? We haven't raised no prices. We're still £3 a month. And you can catch all our bonus content, bonus interviews, bonus network save, which we are on the fence of. So you might have to bear with us because we are thinking about transferring it to FM26, but network saves are currently broken. So we'll see what we might just be loading up FM24.
It feels like we just spent like a good part of the hour saying this game, it's good. And then at the end, it was just like, this is broke. We can't do this because it's broken.
That's the copium. That's the copium.
Yeah. And so let us know what you might want on Patreon, some extra stuff if network saves can't continue.
Some more shillings.
More shillings, Shillings happen on Patreon.
Tactics Garage. I heard Aaron's got a working tactic.
That's another reason why I'm scared to start a new save, because it means I have to start a new tactic again.
Yeah, but then people can steal it again and post it to their Twitter accounts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Looking forward to super awesome win tactic.
Put it behind their own Patreon.
Also,
taking things out of context.
Also, what we should do is we should shout out our sibling podcast as well, the WFM Show, who are busy smashing it. They've got 2 episodes out on YouTube now, and they're also on Spotify, and I believe they're working on getting it onto Apple Podcasts also. So if you're interested in listening to all things women's football in Football Manager, go and check out the WFM Show pod. It's a belter. So I'm sure you're going to absolutely enjoy
that as well. They had thoughts on this week, who followed me on an aeroplane to Slovenia earlier in the year. So, creepy man. I'm joking, he's very nice. He messaged me when I was in Slovenia and he was like, did I just see you on an aeroplane? I saw a guy in a football shirt who looked like you. And I was like, he was in a football shirt. It was me. and then he was on the same flight back again. But
there you go.
Yeah, very good episode. Go give it a listen.
It was superb. Let us know in the comments below where you're currently at with things. Where have we hit the mark? Are we off the mark? Let us know. Come join the Discord as well. Have a bit of a conversation with us. And let's come back next week. I'm probably going to have started a new save by the time the next episode comes around, because Sunderland ain't going so well again. So that's going to be happening, and then Si's probably going to be fine, I reckon.
I've found I don't know what happened. I turned everything around. I was looking at the sack on Sunday. Then since then I've been winning. I've finished 14th in the league, so I went from 24th to 14th in the last 10 games. I won 8 out of the 10 games. Started the new season, won 2 games out of the first 2. Hey, I don't think I'm getting the sack. Balotelli's gone though, so no fireworks, even though it's November 5th.
Luke O'Nine's gone on my save because he started a players' revolt, and I was like, of all the people, Luke O'Nine.
Luke O'Nine sounds like a Star Trek character.
Yeah. Well, I've put him on the
Deep Space Luke O'Nine.
Half Space Luke O'Nine.
Jean-Luc O'Nine. Jean-Luc O'Nine.
It's my Star Trek Autista.
Nice.
Star Trek Autista.
Nice.
Sorry, Star Free Roll.
I'm already out. I haven't got any more. Something about Vulcans. Right.
You got rid of him. He's no longer clinging on.
Ooh.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Just about.
Right. Beam us up, Scotty. It's just literally Dan Crowbar in there. Literally. Right, we should probably go. Right, thanks for the support, everyone. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye now.
Toodles.
Chris, phase us out on this bit so we phase out of the add that in the editing.